Ukraine unveils a 20-point peace plan to end the conflict with Russia.
U.S. steps up military deployment in the Caribbean.
The bustling incense root harvest season.
You're watching today's news on Nhộn TV channel. My name is Zhang, your host. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has unveiled details of the latest 20-point peace plan mediated by the United States aimed at ending conflict with Russia. The document is accompanied by the several bilateral agreements between Washington and Kiev related to security guarantees and Ukraine's post-conflict reconstruction.
The draft reaffirms Ukraine's sovereignty, proposes maintaining a peacetime military of about 800,000 troops. It also calls on the United States, NATO, and Europe to provide security guarantees similar to NATO's Article 5, as well as to define a roadmap for Kiev's accession to the European Union. The plan also includes the possibility that Ukraine would consider withdrawing forces from some key industrial areas in eastern Ukraine, provided Russia also withdraws its forces, and the areas to be established as demilitarized zones under international supervision. In addition, the draft proposes joint U.S.-Ukraine control over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant without Russian participation. However, Russia said the plan does not address Moscow's concerns and differs significantly from Russia's position.
International media report that the United States is increasing its military presence in the Caribbean near Venezuela as tensions between Washington and Caracas continue to escalate. The White House has also reportedly instructed its military to focus on enforcing an oil blockade against Venezuela for at least the next 2 months.
According to the New York Times, over the past week, U.S. Air Force C-17 heavy transport aircraft have conducted at least 16 flights to Puerto Rico from various bases inside and outside the United States. U.S. Central Command said about 15,000 American troops are currently operating in the Caribbean, along with an aircraft carrier, multiple warships, and modern fighter jets. This is considered one of the largest U.S. military deployments in recent years. The move comes as President Donald Trump increases pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, including oil blockades and military measures, despite opposition from Caracas and international concern.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính has worked with the Ministry of National Defense and requested a strong focus on implementing military and defense tasks in 2026. The emphasis is on building a modern military, accelerating the development of the defense industry, and enhancing self-reliance in mastering core technologies.
According to reports, in 2025, the defense industry and military science achieved significant innovations and positive results, marking major technological breakthroughs and demonstrating the country's growing capacity for research, manufacturing, modernization of weapons and equipment bearing Vietnamese brands. Concluding the meeting, the Prime Minister emphasized that in 2026, efforts should focus on building a revolutionary, regular, elite, and modern army, mastering foundational and core technologies, developing a high-tech defense industry, promoting dual-use products for defense and civilian purposes, attracting high-quality human resources, and strengthening international cooperation to firmly consolidate defense potential and protect the fatherland.
Coming up next are some updated news.
In 2025, state budget revenue managed by the tax sector exceeded VND 2 quadrillion for the first time, reaching a record high. According to the General Department of Taxation, by December 14th, revenue had reached about VND 2.15 quadrillion, surpassing the estimate by 25%. All 34 localities met and exceeded their targets, with Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City collected over 630 trillion and 600 trillion VND respectively. The results reflect effective institutional reforms, digital transformation, improved management of the digital economy and e-commerce, and stronger efforts to combat tax losses and fraud.
In 2025, total investment in the Southeast Economic Zone of Nghệ An is estimated at nearly 31 trillion VND, exceeding the plan by 23%. In 2026, the province aims to attract VND 35 to 40 trillion in investment into the zone, including about USD 1.6 billion in FDI. The province identifies this as a key acceleration phase, focusing on completing key infrastructure, preparing large-scale clean land funds, and improving the quality of human resources. Priority will be given to high-tech, environmentally friendly projects. To achieve these goals, Nghệ An will accelerate strategic infrastructure projects and ensure energy supply and service ecosystems for workers.
Vietnam's tourism sector aims to welcome 25 million international visitors and 150 million domestic travelers in 2026, up 11 to 16% from 2025, with total tourism revenue expected to reach 1.125 quadrillion VND, up 11%. According to the Vietnam National Authority of Tourism, the goal is based on strong recovery momentum, as Vietnam welcomed over 21.5 million international visitors in 2025 for the first time. To realize this target, efforts will focus on improving institutions, amending the 2017 tourism law, easing business constraints, and developing products aligned with local strengths.
Toward the end of the year, the demand for agawort and joss sticks raised sharply. The incense roots enter its most bustling harvest season. This year, the crop has been bountiful with high prices, bringing significant income to farmers.
In Quin Thang Commune, farmers are busy harvesting incense roots on hillsides and in home gardens to provide raw materials for incense production facilities serving the Tet market. According to local residents, the price of the roots is quite high this year. With 1 hectare of well-tended incense root plants, farmers can harvest about 4 tons of dried roots, yielding a substantial income.
The harvest has been very productive. Income over the last few years has been quite stable, with about 10 million VND per acre and up to 14 million VND for well-tended plots.
Compared with many other crops, growing incense root requires less labor and investment, making it suitable for households with limited capital and labor. As the roots are sold dried, they can be stored for many years without concerns about price drops during peak harvest periods. Currently, Quin Thang Commune has over 500 hectares of incense root with an output of 25 tons of dried material per year. It is the largest growing area in the province, providing an abundant supply for local agarwood incense production and other provinces.
From the beginning to the middle of the year, we mainly produce stick incense for full moon and first day offerings. Toward the end of the year, we focus on rolled paper incense to meet demand during the 2 months around Tet holiday.
Although it is an easy plant to grow, incense root is only suitable for intensive cultivation on hilly land with yellow-red feral soils and is quite incompatible with red basalt soil. In areas with suitable soil conditions, prices tend to be higher, creating strong incentives for farmers to expand cultivation and increase output.
It's the end of today's news. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.